The development of young players is an aspect of the game that represents the future of the sport. For the teams in rebuild mode right now, getting young players to live up to their potential and elevate their games to the fullest can make or break their ability to compete down the line. Rookies, more often than not, struggle in their first seasons as they adjust to the level of play in the NBA, but then in year 2, we see tons of players take big leaps individually on a yearly basis. This brings us to the topic of today's video, where we'll be discussing 5 players going into their second NBA seasons next year that I believe are ready to have big-time breakout seasons. One thing I'll say before we start, though, is that I didn't include guys like Anthony Edwards, LaMelo Ball, or Tyrese Halliburton because they pretty much already broke out last season and would have been too obvious as choices for this topic. Before we start though, it turns out about 57% of you watching right now aren't even subscribed to the channel, so please, if you enjoy the content, consider hitting the subscribe button, as not only does it help out a ton, but I would also very much appreciate it. Now with that being said, let's begin. The first second-year player we'll be discussing today that I think is in for a big season is someone that we really didn't get to see much of in year 1, but it's Killian Hayes of the Detroit Pistons. Hayes was one of the most highly touted international prospects in the draft last year, but his first season left a lot to be desired, both for Pistons fans and outside fans alike. You can't necessarily blame him entirely for it, because he did struggle through injuries that held him out for over half of the season, but in the time that he was healthy and on the court, he looked a bit lost and his production was poor. This isn't a reason to overreact and panic though, because rookie guards almost always struggle out of the gate, and last season especially was an unusual one because of how little preparation there was for teams between the end of the 2020 season and the start of that season. This year, he's had a full offseason under his belt, where he's notably gotten stronger, he's healthy again, and the Pistons now have Cade Cunningham to take pressure off of him in that backcourt. Hayes was such an intriguing prospect because of his crafty ball handling skills, ability to create space and confidently make tough shots, and his advanced court vision and playmaking skills. He and Cade Cunningham, I think, will work perfectly off of each other as a young backcourt to build around, and while some questioned the fit, I actually really like the fact that 2 young guards can share the responsibility of running the show instead of having the entire burden of doing so on either of their shoulders. The next second-year player in line for a huge breakout season is actually Killian's teammate, Isaiah Stewart, also on the Detroit Pistons. If you haven't noticed by now, I really like the young core of guys the Pistons have put together, and their rebuild is definitely one of the most intriguing. Hayes got most of the attention from their draft class, but Stewart quietly had a great rookie season. He's a powerful athlete who battles hard around the rim and rebounds well, he runs the floor in transition, he understands positioning and where to be to create easy opportunities for himself, and even has a developing three-point shot that will help him become even more of a versatile big man. Stewart is one of the biggest hidden gems from that 2020 draft class that no one really discusses all that much. But down the line, he has the skill set to mold into a perfect big man for this era of NBA basketball, and he's a big part of this young Pistons core for the future. The next second-year NBA player ready to explode this season is Tyrese Maxey of the Philadelphia 76ers. As I said earlier, rookie guards are almost always expected to play inconsistently, and that inconsistency only amplifies when you're a young guard coming into a team with championship aspirations like Maxey was last year, so his rookie season saw lots of up and downs. His minutes came and went, but he had some major flashes of potential greatness, including a 39-point performance against the Nuggets and some big stints in the playoffs off the bench. He's an aggressive scorer with the ball in his hands who gets to the basket with ease and finishes with great touch. His jumper steadily improved as the season progressed, and now with the Ben Simmons situation going down in Philadelphia, he may be in line to take over the starting point guard spot for the team. He's been noted by Coach Doc Rivers as having one of the best work ethics he's ever seen from a young player. He absolutely dominated the Summer League this season for 2 games before he was shut down because the team saw everything they needed to out of him, and he was clearly too good for the competition, and he genuinely has the potential to be a lethal scorer in this league. The next second-year player in for a big breakout season is Patrick Williams of the Chicago Bulls. Williams is a player who, when he was drafted last year, was viewed as a bit of a reach. He was a project pick who was still very raw, his college production wasn't anything that stood out all that much, and plenty of people questioned the Bulls' selection, having taken him 4th overall. But he actually put together a pretty solid rookie season, better than what anybody expected from him, and now the Bulls are in a position to make a massive leap as a team. They brought in DeMar DeRozan and Lonzo Ball to pair with Zach LaVine and Nikola Vucevic, which has a lot of people excited for them this season, and Williams is more than likely going to be that 5th starter alongside those players. He won't get as much attention as the other big names that I just established, but Williams should be the glue holding everything together for them. Williams has so much promise on the defensive end of the floor as someone who can competently defend multiple positions. Offensively, he doesn't need the ball in his hands to impact the game, which will definitely help alongside these other stars, and he proved to be a much better shooter than advertised last season too, which is another thing he can build on. NBA executives also voted him to be one of their top 5 breakout candidates for this season, for good reason, and even though he did suffer a minor setback recently, hurting his ankle that could hold him out of the first few games of the season, I don't think it'll be anything major to hamper his play in the long run. And finally, the last second-year player we'll be discussing today in for a big second season in the NBA is RJ Hampton of the Orlando Magic. Hampton started his career as a member of the Denver Nuggets, but after struggling to get consistent playing time, he was included in a trade to the Magic, where he immediately became a consistent contributor, and as the Magic begin their rebuild, he should continue on that path. Hampton is an explosive athlete and natural scorer of the basketball. He crashes the glass well for a guard, which sparks more transition play, and he even showed off a better than advertised ability to create for those around him near the end of the season. Going into year 2, his confidence will be much higher, knowing he's going to be getting minutes from the jump. In the Summer League, he was knocking down threes much more consistently at 44%, which was a big area of need for him, and while the Magic have a lot of young talent at the point guard spot, Hampton should receive a lot less competition at the 2 guard spot. The Magic as a team may not be very good next season, but Hampton himself should be one of their brightest spots for sure. And with that being said, that's all I have for you today. Make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and comment down below who you think is about to have a big time second season in the NBA. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time.